Howdy hi. So something they don't tell you about becoming a YouTuber is that you'll be haunted for all of time and eternity by opinions you'll express that you'll later come to disagree with. Also by mispronunciations and other small things you'll just misspeak about. At least I hope that's something other creators experience, because I find myself lying awake at night, mulling over every stupid thing I've ever said. And there's plenty of mulling to do, believe me. I bring this up to say that usually my regrets regarding videos have to do with the unproductive, nitpicky style I adopted from the platform, or knowing that I talked about something because it was highly requested rather than out of genuine interest. The kissing booth, however, I regret being so nice about. For the uninitiated, in July of 2018 I uploaded a video titled "The Kissing Booth is a Garbage Movie, but I Love It Anyway," in which I spent the first few minutes covering my history with Wattpad. The Kissing Booth was originally a Wattpad story, and that's really as far as I went to explain my apparent love for it. In hindsight, that's because it didn't exist. I didn't love the characters, I didn't love the plot, I didn't love the visuals, I didn't even love the romance, and I am impressively susceptible to shipping. Show me two cap erasers and I'll be like, aw, they're in love. In fact, I actually disliked all of the above except for visuals, and then I didn't love them outside of a few fun choices. I haven't revisited it until now in preparation for this video, and fun fact about yours truly, when I like something, let alone love it, I will run it into the ground. I will watch it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I suppose what I really meant was that there was satisfaction in seeing every Wattpad cliche ever come to life, and that I understood the appeal of it. I still do, to be fair. I've loved many a stupider properties, but I've not been able to stop thinking about the thousands of people running amok on this earth believing that I love The Kissing Booth, because actually no, that's not the truth, Alice. So I knew when a sequel was announced that I'd make a video about it, if not because I had a lot to say, then at least to set the record straight once and for all and clarify that I do not love The Kissing Booth. I had it all figured out. I bought the first and second books so I could hate them. I put the movie sequel's release date on my calendar so I could hate it. Then I could drop a video called The Kissing Booth 2 is a Garbage Movie, and I don't like it at all, in which I could tell you all about how much I hated the lot of them. However, a small problem has arisen. That being that when I watched the second one, I didn't hate it. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. I feel like a crazy person, not being able to hate this thing as much as I want to. It's almost as if the worse it is, the more I like it. I'm in an unhealthy relationship with it, much like Ramona is to Noah. I mean, I did hate the books, so I've got that going for me. I'll get into why the second one is bad, but I like it, but it's bad, here in a minute. But before that, I'd like to reiterate and clarify my thoughts on the first one, especially with the added context of the book. And before that, a word from our sponsor, which is Surfshark VPN. Now, I'm sure I don't have to tell you what a VPN is good for, but I will. Basically, Surfshark encrypts your online information, which is just massively important for privacy and security, especially if you often use public hotel or cafe Wi-Fi. But even if you don't, it protects you from identity theft, hackers, less consequential things like targeted advertising. But if the importance of it all doesn't faze you, you should know it serves recreational purposes as well, like accessing blocked social media on your school's Wi-Fi, checking out what Netflix offers in other countries, what Tinder offers in other countries, watching Love Island Australia, BB Canada. I have a reality TV problem, and you can too. It would be quite easy for you, considering Surfshark is offering you guys 3 extra months free, a lot of months, and 85% off, a high percentage, with the promo code juliacudney. That's my name. Get to it. So I couldn't get my hands on the original Wattpad rough draft. I'm not sure if the second one ever saw Wattpad, but upon reading the published version of The Kissing Booth, I can't imagine it was that heavily revised. It serves a major Wattpad energy. You're letting out breaths we didn't know we were holding. The little old lady at the restaurant is calling us a cute couple. We are afraid of the motorcycle. It's all here. As far as its similarities and differences to the movie, I wish I could say I like either or better, but the truth is that they're in more of a 1 step forward, 2 steps back relationship. Both do little things better than the other and big things worse, but neither is so radical as to be good at anything. It's a mostly loyal adaptation, in my opinion. Only the most useless stuff is done away with, which, to be fair, is quite a lot of stuff, but mainly events are just shifted around or combined somehow. Like in the movie, Ramona rips her pants in the beginning, then decides to manage a kissing booth a little later. While in the book, she decides to manage a kissing booth in the beginning, then rips her pants a little later. These are the profound insights you can expect from someone who's read the source material. But really, changes like these I consider to be huge improvements, because one one of the worst things about the book is its pacing. It is such a drag. You might think you hate the endless montage that is the movie until you've been forced to sit through this girl's life. Most of what the film changes about the novel is in service of exposition, rising action, acts, structure. I have two favorite examples of this. One being when Lee finds out about Ramona and Noah, two being when they officially get together in the end. Quick recap of how Lee discovers them in the movie.
Oh! You know? Did you do that to her?
What did you just say?
You really expect me to believe that she just tripped?
Get a clue, Lee. You weren't even here.
I swear to God, if you laid a hand on that...
Is there something going on between you two?
What? No, nothing is going on. I just need to grab my things.
What the...
Fork.
Bueno, stay here, please. Wait! You were never meant to find out this way.
Seems like I was never meant to find out at all, doesn't it, Elle?
Hey, lay off her, Lee. It's not like it's all Elle's fault.
And there you are treating her like some slut that you picked up at the club.
Okay, Lee, that is enough.
No, it's not enough. She has no clue what she's gotten herself into with you.
This is bullshit.
Shirt.
You were acting like a hurt little
Bench.
Get off of it!
Stop!
No, please, Lee, don't leave like this.
Now, I do have some problems with this sequence of events. For one, they should have been kissing when Lee barged in the first time so he could catch them in the act and assume their relationship was abusive all at once instead of this upstairs-downstairs nonsense. And I think the actors were directed to be too dramatic. Like, it is serious tonal whiplash to get an hour into this flamboyant teen comedy and suddenly be met with a soap opera. I can think of many comedies that manage dramatic climactic scenes without derailing the vibe because they maintain elements of comedy. That being said, the movie's version of events is still preferable to the books because in the book, the assumed abuse and relationship reveal happen in totally different chapters. A while before Lee finds them out, he assumes Noah punched her for some reason, so they have an altercation about that, and later at school, he barges in on them kissing. It amounts to these weird spurts of conflict instead of one big thing that makes their extreme reactions a bit more believable. Anyway, quick recap of how they end up together in the movie.
Okay, nobody wants us to be together.
But what do you want?
But being my best friend doesn't give you the right to tell me who I can love.
I just want you to be happy.
I just gotta find him and tell him how I feel.
You just did.
So it's a little messy. Like, why aren't they getting together at prom? Why are we doing this little Batman mask thing? Well, I'm here to tell you that in the book, they do get together at prom. And upon reading that, I was like, you know what? Cool, I like that way better than the ending of the movie. That was until I exited out of my book to check my progress and realized I was only 80% done. 20% of this book takes place after they get together and everyone in their lives accepts that. I gotta tell you, sometimes I do think romance books end prematurely. I hate after a slow burn not seeing any of what my ship is up to IRL. In the Kissing Booth's case, I would have liked to see way less. I mean, 20% of a book being post-resolution is too much in any case, but the thing about Ramona and Noah is that they don't even adhere to the rules of slow burn. They're a secret relationship, forbidden romance sort of thing. We've had our fun. We've seen them together. End it. I do think the best route the movie could have taken would have been still putting them together at prom and then rolling the credits, but if I had to choose between Batman Noah and a near quarter of the movie being meandering slice of life resolution, I would choose Batman Noah, stupid as he is. Plus, the movie's version of events offers a better conclusion to Lee's arc because in the book, he's super mad and then just stops being mad at prom. This way, Elle stands up for her relationship to him and he actually helps them get back together. There's something better about that. Lee's place in the story isn't something that's adequate in either version though. Something I didn't expect to be a movie addition was the list of friendship rules. Yeah, those aren't in the book. It seems they were added to make Lee's response to their relationship more understandable, but it almost has the opposite effect. Like, instead of focusing on why his best friend and sibling getting together might be life-altering, he's holding her to some stupid role they made up as kids. I'm not sure if that's better or worse than in the books where he casually jokes about Ramona's crush on his brother all the time, says once that it would be weird if they got together, and then has a meltdown when they do. If you want to see Lee's arc done well, watch The Edge of 17. It's possible.
What if I liked your dad?
What if I gave your dad a kiss?
Another movie addition I was previously sure came from the book, the OMG girls. Can you believe that? I mean, they exist in spirit in the book. There are like a dozen named female side characters who I just never bothered to remember the names of because all they do is show up to gossip sometimes. It's actually kind of funny. Ramona is continuously bombarded by what she calls swarms of girls, who she'll later mock to her guy friends because she doesn't resent them the same way. Sad, considering she's sexually harassed by said guy friends multiple times throughout the book. Not that she registers it as harassment. The point is, this book is a good example of the not like other girls trope being present without those words ever being used. It's the same thing to write a female protagonist who's framed as the exception to the rule. The rule being that girls are mindless, gossip-obsessed bimbos who wear short skirts on purpose instead of accidentally. In that way, the book provided context as to why the OMG girls rubbed me the wrong way to begin with. They're not just any cliched female antagonists written to replicate the Plastics or the Heathers. Without the deeper themes those cliques represent in their respective films, they're of the misogynistic sort. When it comes to the OMG girls though, the book does have the movie beat when it comes to one scene. If you recall, in the movie, Ramona winds up kissing Noah at the booth because they try to trick her into kissing some nerd they don't want to kiss. I can't wrap my head around why they wrote this scenario instead of adapting the book scenario, which was that she was tricked into kissing Noah because the girls at school knew she liked him and wanted to set them up. If we deep dive into the morality of it, it's still schemy and sketch, but ultimately so much better. Another little side plot that the movie decided it would be fun to ruin is when she's asked on a date for the first time. This happens in the movie, but she's stood up by the guy who sexually assaulted her in the beginning because Noah told him to stay away from her. It's true in the book as well that Noah won't let anybody ask her out, but this date comes to be because one guy defies Noah's wishes and asks her out anyway. It doesn't work out between them because they just don't really like each other, but he does show up, and more importantly, he's not the same guy from the beginning. Similarly to how there are a bunch of minor named female characters in the book, there are a lot of minor named male characters in the book, but instead of combining them into the LOL boys, they've been compiled into this guy. What a horrible choice. You know, the guy who sexually assaults her in the beginning does try to ask her out in the book, but she coldly rejects him. Then again, I can't applaud her too much for that because multiple other times she'll be assaulted or harassed and then go on spiels about how it's all her fault and not a big deal. Keep in mind, this isn't a tactic the author uses to display realistic self-hatred that victims experience. It's just like what we're actually supposed to believe. I was reminded reading the book of one of my biggest problems with the movie, that being the sexualization of Ramona's character. She's so clumsy and relatable, constantly stumbling into the male gaze. This type of reluctant sexuality isn't unique to the kissing booth, but is more prevalent here than I've ever seen it anywhere else. She can't not be sexy, but she can't be sexy on purpose. This is very true in both versions. One thing I think is slightly more prevalent in the book than the movie, surprisingly enough, because it's quite prevalent in the movie, is Noah's whole controlling bad guy thing. They fight more often and more aggressively in the book, to put it lightly. Okay, I really should stop talking about the first one now. At this point, I've baited you with the sequel to rehash my first video. The gist is, the more you expose yourself to the kissing booth, the worse it gets. The more scrutiny you place it under, the more you watch it, the more you read it, the more time passes since you've exposed yourself to it. It's better as a one and done deal. If anything has soured me on the first one, it's making these videos and forcing myself to think about it. I do not want to think about it. And this is the same experience I'm having with the second one. As previously stated, I watched The Kissing Booth 2 and enjoyed myself a little too much to comfortably show up on my channel and pretend I didn't. This isn't to say it improves upon the first one. It really truly doesn't, except for in minor ways, but it reminded me of why I thought I loved the first one before I made a video about it and it detoxed with a much better teen romance. I think we've made a mistake considering The Kissing Booth and To All the Boys I've Loved Before counterparts. Yes, they're both Netflix-produced teen rom-com hits adapted from books, renewed to be trilogies coming out around the same time. They even follow similar beats, especially in their second entries, but what they're trying to accomplish is so different. In my opinion, To All the Boys aims for something higher than The Kissing Booth. It's here to be a wholesome, modern fairy tale thing. We're going for 16 Candles. Kissing Booth is here to be loud and obnoxious, more like a product of its time thing. I'm going to lose a couple of you here, but I'd compare it to John Tucker Must Die or She's the Man. I'm not saying I like them equally. She's the Man specifically is super nostalgic for me. The thing is that it doesn't stand up to much scrutiny. It's still funnier and therefore a much better time, but it has just as many montages, just as unrealistic a plot, more unrealistic to be fair. It even has a kissing booth. You don't have to like the kissing booth, you just have to watch it the same way you'd watch She's the Man to know if you like it. And that's how I watched it the first time, and I'm not saying I ever liked it as much as She's the Man, but I thought it was exactly what it wanted to be. And just some sometimes my cringe turned into a real smile. However, then I read the book, rewatched it, read all of the interviews surrounding it, and now I hate it. I can't stand it. I never want to think about it again from this point forward. You did this to me, audience, asking me to make a video about it. You ruined it for me. Here's the thing about the second one. It's too long. For one thing, it's way too long. It has no business being this long. They have an A plot, B plot, C plot, and D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z plots. I'd love to blame the book, but the second movie has nothing to do with the second book. They took every element from the first movie that was different from the book and ran with them instead of the source material. I mean, at least mostly. The character arcs are ultimately the same, but the manner in which they come about is totally different. Unlike the first one, I can't pinpoint scene by scene changes because nothing is directly translated from the book to the movie. The Thanksgiving climax is the only event that reoccurs, and still in a much different way. So what we're gonna do is walk through this thing plot by plot instead of scene by scene, because cataloging this whole thing would make us dizzy. It's a montage. A plot. Noah is living in Boston, attending Harvard, as delinquent jocks do. Ramona wants to give him space. He doesn't want space. Long distance is hard. Noah has a female friend. This is where it gets interesting. In the book, her name is Amanda. She's blonde and British. In the movie, her name is Chloe. She's black and British. She serves the same purpose in both, though, which is to be hot and intimidating. In the beginning of the movie, it doesn't really make sense for Ramona to be jealous of her because she doesn't do anything. When Ramona comes to visit, things get weird. She finds an earring under Noah's bed but refrains from telling him about it for a while because misunderstanding is plot. She does eventually, to which he's like, I'm not cheating on you, and she's like, okay, but she's still suspicious on the down low. I'll tell you, I think the miscommunication between them is done better in the movie than the book. There's at least some room for nuance like white lies and suspicion here. But in the book, she finds a picture of Noah and Amanda on Instagram and just loses it. Instead of going to Boston to visit him, he comes back home to visit her. He's clearly hiding something, and she dumps him. That's a major difference between the book and movie. She breaks up with him in the book, she doesn't in the movie. Plot A isn't over, but the next bit of it is contextualized by plot B. So if I thought the second Kissing Booth movie wouldn't be contingent upon a romantic runner-up and a romantic false lead, I was wrong. I hate that for me. I think the reason love triangles get a bad rep is because of tropes like these, which produce love interests who don't pose any real threat. I hate when I know beyond a shadow of a doubt what the endgame is, but I still have to sit through scenes with the other guy. I don't have time for this. It's noteworthy that in the Kissing Booth, these characters are Marco and Chloe, who are both white in the book, but were cast as people of color because even though that's awesome, why doesn't it happen with actual romantic leads? Why only the false leads and runner-ups? Just something to think about. So Marco's name is Levi in the book, and their personalities are completely different. Marco is like a cool guy, good at everything, admired by everyone, and Levi is just a guy. There's nothing special about him, and Ramona only ever halfway likes him. They meet through mutual friends in the book and just start hanging out casually, while in the movie their relations are slightly more complicated. Ramona stumbles upon a sign advertising a DDR contest worth a bunch of money, as main characters do, and suddenly she's poor and needs the money for college. I guess I assumed attending the same private school as these hotshots meant she had money, but whatever. I have no concept of wealth, so she's going to do it with Lee, but he pretends to injure himself for reasons. That's plot C, we'll get there. So he recruits Marco instead, and what do you know? She slowly started to be seduced by him. Before this, they had more of a frenemies vibe going on because of some stuff that happened in the beginning I would rather not get into. It's the worst scene, trust me.
How hot can this guy actually be? He can't be that
They also recruit him to do the Kissing Booth, which is how they find out he's good at DDR. Again, none of this matters. What matters is this scene.
Just let go. Let go. I believe you.
We're less interested in meeting the person you think we want you to be. If I'm honest, I didn't like this movie before I was overexposed to it. I loved this scene, and it made me think the whole movie was worth a second glance. This is the type of overdramatic cringe fodder that I can get behind. It held nothing back. It's like the Kissing Booth scene that I appreciated in the first one because of the visual splendor on overdrive. I respect it because at the end of the day, this crew knows what's up. They know what they're doing here, and they know we'll make our little YouTube videos about it and we'll write our little tweets, but they're gonna do it anyway. I would be disappointed if the writers and director saw the criticism of the first movie and took a step back. Not with things like the sexualization of Ramona's character or the unhealthy relationship dynamics, but with the tone. I'm happy they doubled down instead. The kissing booth is what it is, and it shouldn't be anything else. Anyway, Noah comes home to watch Ramona in the DDR competition as a surprise and therefore sees her kissing Marco. This is why it's notable that they break up in the book but not the movie, because she does kiss Levi in the book, not during a DDR competition as that doesn't happen, but she's single. They have similar relationship struggles in the movie, so I really don't know why they didn't break them up when she found the earring or sometime soon after. The stakes would still be there without the cheating that Noah is forced to get over way too easily. Actually, considering the third movie won't be based on a book because the third Kissing Booth book is a novella that takes place between the first and second books, and all signs point to Marco still being present in the third movie, they could have kept Ramona and Noah broken up at the end here and let her wind up with Marco. It's the new moon eclipse problem. For the love triangle to have real stakes, we should have seen Bella choose Jacob in New Moon and get back together with Edward in Eclipse. Likewise, Ramona should choose Marco here so we don't have to sit through another movie with him hanging out on the sidelines knowing she's ending up with Noah. Love triangles need to be committed to is what I'm saying. If Ramona actually ends up with Marco in the third movie, I will upload a video titled Julia is Stupid and Knows Nothing, where I make myself a dunce cap and sit in the corner of my room. So anyway, plot C has to do with Rachel, the girl Lee ended up with in the first one, if you recall, feeling like a third wheel to Lee and Ramona's friendship. This is why Lee pretends to be injured, so he has an excuse not to hang out with Ramona and appease Rachel. There's a subplot to this too, which is that they've always planned to go to college together, but Ramona is applying to Boston schools for Noah. Similar arcs take place in the book, albeit much more annoying versions, but I'd rather not talk about this stuff because it is easily the plot they should have axed from this thing. Well, this and the D plot, which is, look, they're gay, applaud us. I think the idea is that Lee needs something to do, but there's already too much. He could have just hung out. I might see the point in it if we were drawing parallels between how Rachel sees Ramona and how Ramona sees Chloe, but we're not, because Rachel doesn't think that Lee and Ramona are into each other, she just wants more alone time. Point blank, these scenes bog down the story the most. The point in the movie when all of these storylines mix and mingle is Thanksgiving dinner. Noah brings Chloe home and chaos ensues. Then things wrap up. Everybody makes up, Ramona tells Marco that Noah is the guy for her, and they graduate. Ramona lies, saying that she got waitlisted for Berkeley and Harvard when she really got accepted into them both, as protagonists with cringy personal essays do.
In 5 years, I want to be my brother's joy.
And it seems like Marco still wants to pursue things with her. So I guess the third movie will be about Marco and college. Kind of like this one was. I don't know if I'll talk about that one because odds are that I'll feel similarly about it, but to sum up how I do feel, I like this movie slightly better than the first one just because they improved upon some of the morality. Like, I guess Noah is getting over his anger issues and she certainly took her shirt off less often, but tonally they're the same. They're just not designed to be analyzed or dissected. They're dumb fun on purpose and I don't have time to be mad at them for it anymore.